We've got this from NPR. Over 200,000 subscribers flee Washington Post after Bezos blocks Harris endorsement. The Washington Post has proven itself to be of, for, and by the Democratic Party, masquerading as a news organization. Jeff Bezos decided, and he's not a stupid guy, we are not endorsing Kamala Harris. USA Today just announced they will not be making an endorsement either. LA Times announced this. Do you know why they're making these announcements? They know they're going to lose money, but they know what happens after this election when Trump wins. Trump is going to come out and he's going to be pissed off. He's going to be pissed off at these guys who all went against him, and they believe that Donald Trump is going to win.
Also, I think they legitimately don't support Kamala Harris. Like, Jeff Bezos does not support that regime. That Benz, I think Mike Benz was talking about this, or somebody was talking about it last week, that these guys trusted the deep state. They trusted the apparatus, Zuckerberg with Facebook, and then they did their bidding basically during the Biden administration and with the Hunter Biden laptop suppression of that story. And then their reward was more crackdown, more supporting the EU's law on digital censorship. And they're like, what? We thought that if we did what you told us to do and censor the people you want us to censor, that you'd give us our power back or like lighten up. And instead it just got worse. And they see that that's the path of following evil, is that more evil comes from more suppression. Following the path of suppression equals more suppression. But you don't make a deal with the devil.
So my view with this, where is Mark Zuckerberg right now? That was the question. Well, he seems to be coming out acting like he's libertarian now and he's for Trump. No, he's looking at the data that he's got and he's saying we cannot, as these institutions, suppress the American people anymore. Trump will win. And if we are on the wrong side of this, then the people will come with their torches and pitchforks. So Zuckerberg is now saying, oh, yeah, Trump, so cool, so great. I'm out of here. He's building a house on a Hawaiian island with an emergency bunker and his own Wagyu cattle. That dude's preparing for the worst. A lot of these guys are.
Well, this Washington Post, the commercial imperative dictates that most of their audiences are Democrats, so they have to pick that side.
Yeah, but they're not now because Washington Post refused to endorse. And the editorial staff wanted to. Bezos blocked them and said, you're not endorsing. And the reason why, in my opinion, is that Bezos is looking at his business he owns and the money he's going to lose. And he's thinking to himself, if we don't endorse a Democrat, I'm going to lose tons of money. However, if we endorse Kamala and Trump wins, he's going to come after Blue Origin. He's going to come after Amazon. He's going to come after all of us.
I see.
And Bezos, with this statement, is saying, it is a greater risk to go against Donald Trump than it is to just not endorse anybody. I think these billionaires are seeing the line. They're seeing what's coming. That is a Trump victory.
Honestly, if there is a defense mechanism against totalitarian government, it is the people themselves and their companies, their organizations. And multinational corporations are dangerously center forces of power. Like Google has a lot of authority, but that also the people at Google could be a paragon against corruption because they help run our digital infrastructure and our communications. Like they could maintain against some sort of crazy government overreach.
Yeah, Ben Smith wrote that it was impossible timing for this announcement to be read as a statement of principle, which makes it even worse. It's like, if it would be one thing if he was doing it on principle, but it's obviously, to your point, obeying Trump in advance.
Yep.
Which is, it's so political and so insincere. But I think that there's a greater issue, which is how do you solve the political divide in this country? And how do you avoid this situation? By the way, Zach's ready. I'll call him and when you're ready, if it's okay for me to go on speaker.
Maybe like five minutes, we'll wrap up this story.
The answer to your question, James, you jam. You rock so hard that the world has no choice but to listen.
I think
we're going to do that tonight.
I think you do it by, for one, this leftist ideology is not popular. It never has been. It only rules through fear. All of these comedians, like Howard Stern, spews racial slurs left and right. But then once the woke mob controls the institutions, he drops to his knees and he begs like a spineless little coward. He'll no longer make the jokes. Please, just don't hurt me. Oh, what a loser. Howard Stern, you're a loser. People like him, they are terrified of whoever is in control of the institution. And what we need to do is prove they don't. They don't control these institutions, and people don't care for this. There's a silent majority of people who reject the woke garbage. Bud Light made a huge point when they lost billions in market share, and they've never recovered. I thought they were going to see, I don't want to get too much into it. I thought they were going to see a sales normalization that they would capitalize. They didn't. They just keep spiraling. It's just worse. Even UFC and Joe Rogan couldn't save Bud Light. Disney lost $1 billion, on their past 10 releases or whatever. And Kevin Feige had to go and fire everybody. The next move is a Donald Trump popular vote victory. Go vote. I don't care where you live. If you live in a red state or a blue state that are deep blue, not swing states, more than ever, you got to go vote. Because when Trump wins the popular vote by 10 million or whatever the number is, I'm not saying he does. I'm saying if he does, that's a message to all of these leftist institutions. You have lost the popular mandate. You never had it. And it's time to sit down and shut up and let regular people come back into the fold and we can fix this thing. That's how you unify the divide. You shut out the crazy people by proving once and for all, people don't like the crazy. Look, when I went and saw Marvel Avengers Endgame, it's a big deal. It's a 10-year culmination of a multi-billion-dollar franchise, one of the biggest movie franchises ever. When they did the scene where all the women are walking up and they're like, she's not alone, and all the women strut, the audience groaned. People didn't like it. Nobody hates women. It's just ham-fisted garbage. When they remade the movie The Craft, did you see that one?
When was that?
This was like 2 years ago. You got to watch it. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh your ass off. The Craft in the 90s is about 4 girls who are witches and they do magic, whatever. They remade it, and it's just all woke insanity. One of the witches is a trans woman. They turn the jock gay with magic. It's nonsense. These movies bomb. They fail miserably. They're losing money. Regular people do not like what the institutions have become. But so long as they can beat people into submission and tell them if you speak up, you're fired, people won't say anything. But now people are starting to speak up. Bud Light, as I mentioned, Disney, as I mentioned, and now Trump winning a popular vote victory finally silences the 8 to 10% of Americans who have this insane ideology. And we have the polling data on this. It's 8 to 10% of Americans that are woke. And the rest of the liberal side is just bowing down to them, scared they'll lose their jobs. Enough.
Scared they'll lose their jobs.
That's mostly it.
Yeah. Not everybody.
Not everybody. But I believe that if we get a Trump popular vote victory, more of these people are going to think the other way. And they're going to think, so most people like Trump? Well, I don't want to be a loser. I don't want to get people yelling at me.
Yeah.
I don't agree with those people. And that's how we shut down the fringe elements of the far left that have been violent and psychotic. And it will show this country is actually more unified than people realize.
I think that's right.
They call that a cultural victory.
Absolutely.
That's how it works, or at least a sway of culture where cities start to pop back.
I would just like to explain briefly what I was talking about with Mark Zuckerberg, because that is an actual quote. And I know you're kind of believing his rebrand.
No, I'm just,
now.
So tell me.
He leans libertarian, but this is what he said in 2004. He said, yeah, so if you ever need info about anyone at Harvard, just ask. I have over 4,000 emails, pictures, addresses. People just submitted it. I don't know why. They trust me, dumb fucks.
That was 20 years ago?
Yeah, but do you really think his philosophy has changed at all?
Oh, yeah. Now that the government's been up his butt.
He's learned. He's growing.
Yeah,
he's become
changed.
utilitarian. He knows what they're going to do to him if he keeps participating.
He's become one of the most powerful men in the world, controlling one of the most powerful information apparati on the planet, and he's worth dozens of billions or whatever dollars, and now he's had a reformation.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, man. The Biden administration screwed that
I'm just saying, I feel like big tech censorship isn't going to get significantly better under either candidate, whoever wins.
Well, that's a reasonable assumption. I mean, it does
I'm just
look
saying, like given the nature of what you do for a living,
Yep.
that is something that you obviously have to think about.
About censorship? Mm-hmm. What about the Streisand effect? They censor you, it makes you bigger. What do you think about that?
I mean, that's optimistic.
It depends,
Most people
actually.
will. I mean, you're never going to know because the people who fade into obscurity, they fade into obscurity.
Right.
It is not correct to say that once it's online, it's there forever.
Right.
For example, let's see if we can use the power of the internet. There was a cartoon on Reddit 10 or 12 years ago where there was this cartoonist on YouTube. I forgot what his name was. I don't know. Maybe you can find it. He made jokes mocking various subreddits. He had r/gaming and r/atheism. He made fun of the r/atheism subreddit because he was like, it's actually really cool that you guys make fun of people for having different beliefs. He got attacked so mercilessly by the left, he deleted the video, removed it from the internet. I've never been able to find it since. And it had a ton of views. It's gone. That's not the only example, it's just the one I can think of off the top of my head, where people have been able to successfully purge stories from the internet using reputation management firms.
I think I hear you. I think what the nature of what I do is a little different in that the content is king. So if you get something so compelling on video, it'll work its way. It'll work its way through other people. If I'm censored, it'll be distributed by proxy. So I was banned from Twitter in 2021 until Elon bought it, and then I was brought back in January 23. And people would distribute our stories by proxy. If it's a really good story, people will want to watch it. Just like people go to pay to see stuff, like they go to movie theaters to watch stuff. I think people will want to see it. I think you have to have very compelling content, which randomly makes me think that good journalism is hard to come by, and good stories are hard to come by. But it's a people can disagree on this.
Do you know what exactly got you banned in 2021?
It was so ridiculous. It was Kafkaesque. It was like, what did they say? They said
Kafkaesque.
It was like
Those are
the
the
most
best.
the most ridiculous, absurd, bureaucratic rationale. The same thing they're doing to Zach Apotheker from the Border Patrol. I had gone to a house in San Francisco. I did a story about CNN, undercover, and I went, or Facebook, or one of these companies, but it was on Twitter. I posted it to Twitter, and I forgot to blur the lamppost of the number of the house. So they argued that I had infringed privacy by leaving the number on the lamppost. But CNN went to like people's private homes and blurred nothing.
Random old ladies.
Random old ladies in trailer parks. You know about that one. So they banned me because I had violated the privacy of this lamppost in a public neighborhood. It was completely absurd and hypocritical. And I do remember when they banned me on Twitter, I'm like, whoa, because I never thought I'd cross that threshold. And for 2 years, I distributed my stories to other people. If it's really, really good, people will share it. That's my theory, at least.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.